Onecraknews with Carcino. What's up? Oh, man. So what's going on in the world today? Let's cover that, right? Now, we all know about world news. Let's talk about black news. Yeah, black news, people. They don't want to talk about black news because they want to act like we don't exist. Anything that got something to do with us is just wiped off the planet. Unless they say 12 dead. 12 dead today as one black man goes crazy and shoot a whole bunch of people up for no reason. And that's supposed to represent all of us. His auntie is out here right now. Yeah, cuz, see, them people been messing with us, and then we had to do that. It's a damn shame we can't get no justice. Now, the old saying goes, never trust who they put on television to give you the black news. Because it's all coming on a slant. They talk about, man, they're going to come out with a black news channel. Don't ever believe it. And whatever one you see, don't even believe that. You don't want that. That is a bad way to go. Now, let's start with what they don't want to talk about. In Massachusetts, right, they got the what they call it, the HCA, the Housing Authority. Now, they have been discriminating against the black tenants that they got there, the blacks, and even some of the handicapped. Now, the Civil Rights Division, and the people in the Justice Department, they went and filed a lawsuit talking about the Chippewa P Housing Authority and its executive director. They violated their position by going against the Federal Housing Act that they have for regulations in Massachusetts by discrimination against people for race, color, or creed, whether you're black, Hispanic, disabled, etc. Now, Monica Blasi, who was previously accused of failing to make reasonable adjustments and discriminating against the second floor tenant with a renal disease, the tenant reportedly asked to be relocated to the first floor property so that she can get dialysis at home, but was denied even though the housing authority could have granted the request. So these type of situations have rendered the whole nation, the world, it's not just Massachusetts, it's going throughout the entire United States. But people don't know that you could actually sue, because it's simply inexcusable to see somebody who's the head of public housing repeat using racial slurs that's been said, and then they got bigoted statements that they've made about blacks and the Hispanic residents over there, when that's the people who are paying you and putting money in your pocket, right? So the housing authority repeatedly violated these rights to these residents. And Christian Clark of the Justice Department for the Civil Rights Division said that Blazek, whatever, has made these statements and about blacks and Hispanics since 2013, including using racial slurs indicating a preference against having black and Hispanic residents over there, demanding that the Spanish-speaking residents speak English. Now, the Department of Housing and Urban Development initially examined the case and charged the HCA, or whatever they want to call, and Blazek with discrimination, later noting that the discrimination against the disabled tenant was not an isolated incident, but the product of a widespread practice of disability discrimination. Now, they went on to say that everybody deserves equal access to housing, that is free discrimination. But the Justice Department has to take action against landlords who blatantly, unlawfully discriminate conduct to the tenants. Now, they don't talk about this stuff, right? They think this is a local problem. This problem is going on state by state. When people are in areas that they feel you shouldn't be at. And the people that's in charge of these housing authorities, the majority of them seem to be racist for some reason and have a bias against certain people over there. Or are they gatekeepers? Are they gatekeepers who have the same ideals and agenda of the people that hired them? But now you can sue them. So that lawsuit is going on right now, people. Now, they don't want to talk about a lot of these things that is going on right now, because that's not the agenda. The agenda is not to talk about all of these different accomplishments that has basically been done by black people across the globe. Now, if we look at in business practices, for instance, right, you have people such as um, entrepreneurs with newborn families, and you have people taking on athletics. They want to push you into the field of, well, let's get them on the field and see how they perform running a football or hitting a baseball. But have you noticed football and basketball are the two most popular sports, and they have very strenuous holds on guaranteed money. Football guaranteed contracts are mostly reserved for quarterbacks, which is like one of the last positions, strongholds, that are held by Caucasians. Basketball guaranteed contracts are far few in between. Your contract's not 100% guaranteed. Um, you think it is, but it isn't. They can find ways to fine you, penalize you. There's a salary cap on how much money you're going to get. There's a salary cap in the NFL on how much a team can spend on you. Now, NBA, you get your money more, but a lot of it is not guaranteed. With all the luxury tax and all these different taxes you get hit with, a player really doesn't have a lot. And those endorsements and everything else starts to open up a lot of doors and alleviate a lot of access to money that you might be losing. So somebody who might be getting $1 million contract to play in the league, shoot, that's, you could be broke in a year. You know, it's just how it is. And people think, oh man, he blew that money. You don't know where that money went. You don't know how much went to taxes. You know, it's not as easy as you think. It's not easily laid out in just writing. But have you noticed in those two major sports where it's African Americans, Salary cap is there. Do baseball have a salary cap? It's a lot of white guys play baseball. They seem to not have that problem. In baseball, one player makes like 200, $300 million. Oh, don't worry. In basketball, the contracts, they do get paid off eventually, and you can make out like a fat rat if you basically get injured, unfortunately, or just be to the point where I can't play no more. And then your contract got to keep getting bought out in different ways. Like Luol Deng, he got about a 50-year career still being paid. Larry Johnson was paid for like 25 years because of back injuries. Allen Houston, they were getting paid millions of dollars and wasn't even playing basketball anymore. It was crazy. Now, let's talk about some other things they're not going to tell you about because it's not in their benefit to tell you this. Um, I remember a family on Philadelphia, a black family. They went on American Airlines. A 7-month-old baby was planning to pursue. Um, I think they were going to sue the airlines or something, or they preparing to sue. Because I remember I saw that. Alan Ali and his girlfriend, Camila, whatever, their newborn daughter, they were coming home from Philly on the American Airlines, and they was coming from North Carolina. And it's a viral video, right? When the flight attendant is having an argument while the lady was holding her baby, and they was instructing them to get their stuff and get off the plane. Apparently, the couple got out their seats because they were told to get out their seats to let a white man who came late get to his seat. So the man had a flight attendant with him, and as they walked by the aisle, Ali came by and they said the flight attendant aggressively telling them, "Y'all have to get up." They obliged, but the attendant was blocking the aisle, so they couldn't move. So when they asked, could she make some extra room, the attendant replied, "Is this going to be a problem?" The flight attendant contentedly, if you look at the film, is basically treating them rudely, ordering them to sit down and fasten their seatbelts, which prompted Camilla to tell the attendant she didn't like how she was, how she spoke to her, and that's when the attendant stormed off to report to the captain about it. The family was removed from the flight right before it took off. The captain's decision. They was rebooked on a later flight, which was a big inconvenience. They had to wait at the airport for several hours. They had a newborn baby. And now they're thinking about filing a lawsuit for unfair treatment that they experienced on the flight. Now, American Airlines said they are actively looking into the incident because they went into the thing that's called travel Nayor. And this is for plane flights, so people are trying to value demands and customers are treated fairly. They blah, blah, blah. So people who have reached out to the customers involved in this situation, and when you have a video and it goes viral or people are talking about what happened on the airlines, it makes the airlines look bad. It makes people of color say, "I ain't getting on that damn flight." Hurts their money. Now, this matter has our full attention and we will take the appropriate action as necessary. We'll see. We'll see. What else they ain't talking about? How about the 12-year-old black girl from Arizona? She finna start college at 12 years old at Arizona State University. And she's finna study chemistry and planetary science. They ain't talking about that. She dreamed of being an engineer her whole life. And she liked building things. And she's only 12. She's been doing that since she was 4. She was building NASA-sized Lego, you know, those Legos and stuff. She was doing that when she was a kid. And she's gifted with numbers and everything. She started since she was 4 years old, and it just comes to her naturally. She was smarter and beat everybody in her class. She was so advanced at 8 years old, she was doing high school work. At 8 years of age, she's able to complete high school problems. Easy. At 10, she breezed through college administrative tests. They wanted to put her in a magnet school because she was so smart. She could figure things out in her head quicker than she could write it on the paper. So she was being homeschooled because her parents realized we could teach her more at home than she could in the school. Now let that sink in. The parents made the sacrifice to say, we gotta stay home and teach our daughter because she's obviously gifted, but we have to stay home and homeschool her. Now she's going to college at 12. And her expectations is to finish college by the age of 16. And she's like, I'll be driving one of those future space mobiles by that time. So she want to build moon rovers on other planets. That's like her goal. She wants to make some of those. But that's what I'm saying. Ambition, goals. Her goals ain't let me get a job. So go ahead, sister. I'm with you. Bubba Wallace. First black driver to win a NASCAR Cup since 1963. Bubba Wallace, right? I don't like this motherfucker. I don't like this nigga. Look, this dude went through all this, tried to go and play the sympathy role so he can get everything. Trying to make a damn little loop talking about it's a noose. And it was put in my locker. First off, they showed what it was, and it was a loop just so they could pull down to open the garage. And nothing racial at all was done. But for him to play that whole sympathy card based on real problems that's going on in America, Bubba Wallace wants to play like he's a victim in something, lost my respect. And now he wants to play the card in the role. Him winning this cup. Well, he's driving a Denny Hamlin car. And Michael Jordan, right, is part of his 23X racing team. Of course he's playing this role. This is for all the kids out there that want to have an opportunity in whatever they want to achieve and the best way to do what they want. You're going to go through a lot of BS, but you got to always stick true to your path and not let the nonsense get to you. Do you realize that Wendell Scott really went through something? Wendell Scott, the black man that won in 1963, he really went through things to win it. The racist culture at that time, do you want to talk about that, Bubba? I don't think you do. Now, Bubba, what did you go through last year? You claimed a noose was discovered in the garage stall next to you. The only thing that they did a week later is they banned the use of a Confederate flag at all its events, since Bubba Wallace called it out. You pulled a political BS move, and I will never respect you for that. People went out of their way not to be mean to you, knowing you were. They did not want to be the guy that argued or discriminated against the black guy, the only black guy in NASCAR. NASCAR already got a pass for or a whole field of being just discriminative. So they were walking around on eggshells. Even the people that was racist, they were like, hey, I can't say nothing to that darky over there. I ain't saying nothing. I don't need to be messed with. And that's how they was moving. You fakely made a doggone, you pulled a juicy. That's what you did. You pulled a juicy, but got away with yours. That's the only thing. And I'm like, do you really want to go through those type of problems for real? When people sending you death threats to your house, do you want that for real? When it ain't safe, your wife and kids at home and you're not there and they getting threatened, you really want that? I mean, to even play and use something like that, it's retarded. I mean, it's insulting to the people that really went through it. So we'll leave it there. We'll talk about this more on the Patreon because it's a lot of stuff I want to say. And I was kind of getting off on Bubba Wallace ass. I can't stand him. But, yo, Onecraknews, man, we out. Thanks for your time. Don't forget to like, subscribe if you're new. Support the page always. God bless.